Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently facing at least two potentially catastrophic issues for Bitcoin. I don't mean to needlessly raise alarm bells, but these are things that should have attention drawn to them. Before we get into all that, I need to go through the news. And keep in mind, with at least two of these three things, you can actually do something today to help. Stay tuned for the opinion section for that. This is your Mining Disrupt News Surge for Monday, February 3rd, 2025. As always, everything that you see here is for entertainment and education purposes only. This is not where you come for financial advice. I am not that guy. Now, in just about 6 weeks, we are under 2 months now. You need to be getting your tickets to the Mining Disrupt Expo. I've already got my flight booked. I've got my hotel. I'm going to be less than a mile away. I'm going to be there. You can meet me. You can meet Nico Morin of Simply Bitcoin. You can meet Ben of BTC Sessions. You can meet Dennis Port. There's so many people that are going to be there. Meet everybody that's in the business and learn about this from the ground up. Now we're going to jump right over to the numbers. The price is still just hovering above the 100,000 range. The blocks have been flying in at a bit under, about half a minute under that 10-minute target time. Nodes, we got a real solid node number here, over 21,000. Unconfirmed blocks, this is crazy, but we saw an empty mempool there for a little bit. That is also going to tie into the opinion section. There's a lot to go into this one. Moving right into the news, I didn't really find anything that jumped out at me on Monday, so we're going to jump right over to Tuesday. This one from Cynthia Lummis. She says, appreciate the kind words. This is from Dennis Porty, says, congrats to her. But she says, appreciate the kind words and all you are doing to Dennis. Education is still the name of the game for many legislators and their staffs. We are still so early, but to borrow from my friend Parker Lewis, a major Bitcoiner, the suddenly moment is just around the corner. And then she also said that same day, and this one got very little traction, only 108 likes, 1 bookmark, 9 retweets, 5 comments, very little, but she says big things afoot, and she's commenting on this that she had posted. Clean air, climate, transportation, infrastructure, fisheries, water. What? No, I missed something there. I missed something. Nuclear innovation. Nuclear. Wow, that's... Nuclear energy, maybe? Now moving on to Wednesday, this news kind of slipped under the radar. Again, very few likes and bookmarks, not much here, but this is major stuff here. To diversify the company's cash, and the company here being Trump Media and Technology Group, cash and equivalent reserves of over 700 million as of December 31st, 2024, the board has approved the investment of up to 250 million to be custodied by Charles Schwab. In addition to traditional investment vehicles, these funds may be allocated to a couple things, but then also here at the bottom, Bitcoin and similar cryptocurrencies or crypto-related securities.
And David, finally, when are we going to hear the announcement about the Bitcoin Reserve from the Trump administration? Everyone's waiting for that. We got the study and the review, but the Bitcoin Reserve, Texas is going to move forward. It looks like with legislation Dan Patrick announced today. That's a big priority for them in Texas. But how about the Trump administration?
Well, there's also a bill in the Senate. I think Cynthia Lummis from Wyoming has introduced a bill to create a national Bitcoin Reserve. President Trump has asked us to study that issue, so we're just not ready to comment on it yet, but it's one of the things our working group's going to look at.
Can't wait. David, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
They're looking at it. Does that mean that they're looking at it seriously? Are they looking at it right now? Are they taking some time? Unknown. But they're looking at it. Moving right on to Thursday, Lightning Labs here says, today we're announcing that Tether is coming to Bitcoin and Lightning. With the security and decentralization of Bitcoin and the speed and scalability of Lightning, USDT will bring hundreds of millions of users and trillions, that's with a T, trillions in volume. It all comes back to Bitcoin. There's been a lot of talk about this crypto stockpile, but this one here from AP_abacus, Andrew here says, update. The second source reiterating first source from a couple days ago, quote, we aren't getting fooled. No XRP in any version of the reserve construct, end quote. And then also, quote, discussions have evolved and moved quickly to Bitcoin only, end quote. And here, moving on to Friday, does this remind you of anything? Because this looks almost like a meteorologist showing a storm front moving in. Look at this. You've got Alabama, Florida, Kentucky, New Hampshire, Ohio, Oklahoma, Texas, Wyoming. I missed about half of them there, but these are all states that have something going on with Bitcoin. Things are moving, and they're moving fast. Now, this map is pretty cool. Another kind of storm map showing what's coming around the line. You can follow this address right here, link in the description below, well, at least to Marty Party's tweet here. You can now track US states' Bitcoin initiatives here. Look at this. By the end of the year, right now it's 18 states, something's going on. I am convinced that before the end of 2025, before the calendar year ends, that 18 will be well above 25, well above. Will be well over half. And then closing things out for this week, this is back to Andrew, AP_abacus. He says, update, sources from banks underwriting MicroStrategy preferred stock, STRK, quote, as oversubscribed as anything we've done in the last 2 years, end quote. Another one here, quote, the formula Saylor is executing is a masterclass on several levels, end quote. And then also here, finally, quote, the bank's interest in Bitcoin finance has skyrocketed. At the outset of this week's news surge, I said that there was some potentially catastrophic things facing Bitcoin. And I don't mean to needlessly raise alarm bells, but if you look at this right here, all three of these actually are facing potential issues. Now, the first one I'm going to start with is actually down here in the bottom left, your wallet. This is the self-sovereignty aspect of Bitcoin. Now, if you're wondering what that matters, how does self-sovereignty, how does that matter? Well, if you look at time chain calendar right here, you can see that the unconfirmed transactions right here in the top right is at 7,440. That is drastically lower than what we have seen in the past. Just a month, 2, 3 ago, we were looking at hundreds of thousands of transactions in the mempool. They have all cleared out. And what this tells me, and other people are talking about this right now on Twitter, is that there are fewer people taking self-custody of their coins. There are not transactions happening where people are purchasing it, Bitcoin, from an exchange and then taking that, moving that from the exchange into their own self-custody. Now, that's an issue. Because if you don't have self-custody of your Bitcoin, then you don't really, truly have any Bitcoin. Now, the second thing here that is very much important, exceptionally so, is your hash power. If you do not have any sort of home mining going on, if you're not mining at all whatsoever, then you are not helping the decentralization of the network. And something that happened a little while ago was Foundry finding 7 blocks in a row. And you might go, okay, well, the likelihood of that is exceptionally low. That's just a crazy anomaly. Yeah, that's true. But if more and more hash power is pointed towards Foundry, then that kind of thing will happen more commonly. This is why the decentralization of mining is so paramount, now more than ever. Now, the final thing is less of a catastrophic issue, because if you have this handled, it won't really matter, but your node is of paramount importance. Now, you might go, why does it matter if I run my own node? Who cares? What does that matter? Well, if BlackRock or anybody else comes along and says, we're going to fork it, we're going to do a hard fork of Bitcoin, we're going to come up with this other thing, and we aren't going to have the cap anymore. There's not going to be 21 million coins with this. There's going to be 40, 50, 100, whatever we want. We'll do whatever we want. Well, then we're back to the same old problem that we have with fiat. This is why running your own node is so important. Now, you can do something about your wallet right now. There are multiple options. You can go online and purchase a hardware wallet today. You can get that shipped to you in the matter of days, probably overnight if you really want to. You can take self-custody of your own coins immediately. You can also get a node pretty much right away. You can download it onto an old computer. You can wipe it. There are ways to do this in an afternoon. Now, the last thing here, your own hash power, might be a little bit more, and I just say a little bit more hard to solve on your own, because at the very least, Solo Satoshi, I know, is commonly sold out, but all three of these things are of paramount importance. And if you as a Bitcoiner aren't doing any of them, then you're not really a Bitcoiner. Bitcoin as a whole does not need the big players. It needs the plebs. It needs the everyday guy. Not the massive institutions, not the BlackRocks or the Fidelities or even the MicroStrategies. Those are icing on the cake. But the cake itself, that's you and I. Until next week.